Well, Ray Tensing was often in tears yesterday as he recalled the traffic stop and shooting of Sam DuBose on that July day in 2015. But today, the prosecution took him to task for that during their closing arguments. When Ray Tensing testified Tuesday about his shooting Sam DuBose during a traffic stop, he became extremely emotional.
I just remember thinking, oh my God, he's going to run me over and he's going to kill me. And I just instinctively just drew my gun.
But Prosecutor Joe Deters used that emotion against Tensing Wednesday during his closing argument.
It's not the fact that now we're dealing with perceptions instead of reality. It's not that. It was the tears.
Deters told jurors those tears were misplaced, that they should have been shed much earlier.
You tell me if he's upset. The place to be upset, I think, if you use your common sense, would probably be at the crime scene after you just blew someone's brains out. But that's not what happened.
Instead, Deters maintains the emotion wasn't genuine in any way, shape, or form.
He wasn't crying yesterday for Sam or his mom, his fiancee, his brothers, his sisters, or his kids. He was crying only for himself. They were not tears for the life he took, but it was for the life he was trying to save.
It was all part of the prosecution's case that Tensing is guilty of murder.
Look, the evidence is overwhelming that Raymond Tensing purposely killed Sam DuBose. And the evidence is overwhelming that there was absolutely no justification for it.
Well, my colleague Julie O'Neill has been checking into how defense attorney Stu Matthews is positioning his client to say the shooting was justified. Julie?
Tom, the primary question for this jury is, was Ray Tensing justified in this use of force? His attorney, Stu Matthews, spent much of his closing clarifying for the jury what the legal standard for this is and is not. You have seen the video of Ray Tensing shooting Sam DuBose. Tensing's attorney, Stu Matthews, pointed the jury to video of earlier stops that showed a respectful, calm officer.
Stu did a good job of trying to humanize his client, that he was not out there looking to kill somebody that day.
But attorney Merlin Shiverdecker says Stu Matthews had to convince the jury that what Judge Shanahan would instruct them on a reasonable use of force applies here.
The reasonableness of a particular use of force, and this is to me the most critical part of what she's going to tell you, must be judged from the perspective of a reasonable officer on the scene rather than with 20/20 vision of hindsight. The determination of reasonableness must allow for the fact that police officers are often forced to make split-second judgments in circumstances that are tense, uncertain, and rapidly evolving.
Matthews says Tensing could reasonably fear for his safety when the jolt of DuBose's car had him feel he was in the beginning moments of being dragged or at least thrown off balance while his arm was caught in the car.
It's not what would a reasonable police officer who watched this video dozens of times in slow motion and frame by frame have done. It's what would a reasonable police officer in that 3 seconds that this was actually occurring have done.
Did he make a strong case for Tensing?
I think he made as good a case as he could make with the facts and the law that he had. I think they both did a good job.
As Stu Matthews said, reasonableness is an objective thing. The jury must now decide.